beef tips and topics. Now, what we're going to talk about today is all wrestling related. First up, we're going to talk about what is going on with Triple H and The Rock. Is it heat? Is it a work? I don't know. We're going to get started. We're going to talk about it. If you're in here, you can put in your opinion, ask a question, whoop-de-woo, whatever. But we're going to get this thing started. Now, we all know this started back a year ago when The Rock came in. The Rock came in and got involved. It was going to end up being, we think, Rock and Roman. The fans didn't like it. Triple H didn't like it. Everybody wanted Cody to finish the story. So they kind of shelved that. They went in to WrestleMania. The Rock beat Cody in the tag match. So he got a win over Cody. And then we kind of just dropped everything from there. The Rock came back a little later. He pretty much kind of mended fences with Cody after he done beat him like a mule and all that. He gave Roman the Uber follow. And then he pretty much stepped away again. Well, then he comes back. Now, what I'm hearing is he came back because Aria Emanuel said they needed help to sell tickets to Elimination Chamber. So they asked The Rock to come back. They worked this angle. I don't know. I mean, that's probably true. But this whole thing, and a lot of people have been on this wagon here of lately about telling me stuff about The Rock and stuff he was doing is all for himself and this and that. And, you know, when the whole thing, when he was going to be in there, people were saying, no, we don't need The Rock. We need to let Cody do this and do that. I was the one that was sitting there going to bat for The Rock and saying it'll always be better with The Rock because he's one of them people that has that it factor. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of people that have that it factor. John Cena, Stone Cold, you know, stuff like that. There's not a lot of people that have that it factor the way those guys do. But the way this thing came all convoluted and just mixed and matched, and now The Rock doesn't show up after he recruited Cena. All we see is Travis Scott. I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but that was a letdown for me, man. And I think that has a lot not to do with some of the matches just being bad on WrestleMania. A lot of people expected The Rock. Uh, yes, I am a grown man with a toy collection. Uh, anyway, back to the deal with The Rock, Triple H, all this other stuff. This is what we got going on, guys. The Rock, in my opinion, thinks he's a bigger star. And what I just said, technically he is. But you can't just come in and change stories and then not finish. Now, I know people have jumped on and they tell me, they just told me this in the live the other day. They said, well, he was making a movie. You can't tell me there's no way he could not have got on a plane and flew over there. It's been done before. I think The Rock, because I thought Cody and John Cena didn't want The Rock involved, is what it felt like to me. The way they did their whole promos and everything leading up to WrestleMania, nobody was mentioning The Rock. The Rock had a big thing to do with this. Why was he not at least there once? Why was he not mentioned? And all this in between, right? And then he just doesn't show up. And he comes on there and tells everybody, oh, I think I just needed to back away and let John and Cody do their thing. No, because that match was pretty much terrible anyway. You know, what's up, Chris Dearman? Welcome in, guys. Welcome in, everybody. So, the match needed something. It needed The Rock. In my opinion, I think The Rock, when he said he wanted to step away, one, he felt like he was being pushed out, and they weren't mentioning him, I think. And I think also he wanted to show that if I'm not there, look what ratings and stuff you did. That's just the way I feel, and I hate to feel that way because I've always backed The Rock. I've always loved The Rock from day one. But just the way he's pushed himself into these positions, and with his family members as well, I don't know. I don't want to be that one to jump on him because I know a lot of people already have. And there's one guy out there, Brian Last, he was always on him. And every time he'd bring up The Rock, he'd say, see, I tell you this, that, whoop-de-woo, whatever, and bringing up bad stuff. And I'm like, man, he's just not liking The Rock. But the more and more what The Rock does, I'm kind of picking up what he's putting down. You know what I'm saying? What's good, 812? Everybody, put them ones up. Drop them steaks in the chat. Thank y'all for coming in. But I think it was just a dig. And then here's some other things to point out. And I'm sure a lot of y'all caught this as well. I know it's not just me. Triple H had the Hall of Fame speech. He went for an hour. He went longer than Hillbilly Jim. I didn't think anybody could do that. But he went longer than Hillbilly Jim. He thanked his teacher. He thanked his parents. He thanked everybody. He thanked William Regal, bruh. No mention of The Rock. Now, y'all go back and y'all watch that hour-long thing and tell me if I'm wrong, but I did not hear it. I did nod off a couple times because he was boring the shit out of me. But between him and Michelle McCool's speech, kind of made me, like some tryptophan. But I did not hear him mention The Rock's name at all. Then we get to what all happened. The Rock comes, The Rock goes, The Rock don't show up. Then he's on Pat McAfee. Now, what I think happened here is I think whoever up top said, hey, you need to do some damage control. Go do Pat McAfee, yada, yada. But if you listen to what he said, they asked him what he thought about the event, and he questioned the booking of Triple H. Well, there was a couple things I would have done different. He didn't say things we would have done different. He said things I would have done different. So, was that a dig at Triple H? That's the way I took it. Now, a lot of people are coming and, the rumors. This is wrestling. We got all these rumors and stuff. This is what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. None of us really know, right? I don't. You don't. Nostradamus don't. But is it actually a work or is it a shoot? Is there real heat between Triple H and The Rock fighting over power and creative? Or is this a work to, I know people are saying, oh, they're leading up to a match at Survivor Series or WrestleMania. Triple H is not going to be cleared to wrestle with his heart issues. Now, maybe if you did a Survivor Series thing where they were like the team captains or something and they were just on the outside, maybe you could do something like that. But I don't think this is a work. And then, of course, Dave LaGreca goes off, and I'm not a big fan of Dave LaGreca per se. Sometimes I don't like the way he gets on there and ramps. But that's his choice. I rant sometimes too. People don't like it. That's fine. But he called out The Rock, cussed The Rock out and all this. Rock responded and said, everything in this business, from the matches to the interviews to everything, is a work. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And I think that was a condescending way to jab at Dave LaGreca. But I don't know. I'm glad you agree, Chris. I don't think I'm the only one. I think it is a shoot. I don't think it's a work. I think there is true beef there. True heat, beef, no pun intended. But I think there's something there. I know there was a lot of people even going back to when the Click was around and what they did to Bret Hart. And, The Rock didn't like it. Rock was on Bret's side. And then, of course, Triple H with the Click and all that. So I don't know necessarily if it stems from that far back. It could. I mean, you can always have some animosity and stuff. Whatever you think or people actually did to you, sometimes you're going to hold on to that in a positive or negative way, one way or the other. I think you could be holding on to some of that, but I want to think these guys are grown up enough to kind of let most of that shit go. I think it's just more about their egos and they want to be the one calling the shots. That's how I see it. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong, but that's what it looks like. It just looks like a power play. Like when you have a manager and a supervisor, the manager's got a heed to the supervisor, but he thinks he can run it better. So you don't always have that manager and supervisor that get along because that manager wants that job. And in all honesty, The Rock has more power than Triple H does. I hate to say this, but he does. Triple H is supposed to be in control of creative, but The Rock owns more stake in the company and all that stuff. So, come down to it, Triple H could be replaced as the booker. I hope that's not the case. I think Triple H has been doing a decent job. Could it have been better? Yes. Some of the things we could run down here, and maybe we'll do that on another show. Another guy's been talking to me about doing some more fantasy booking and stuff like that. And I'm looking to getting into doing that on one of these shows and just explain how I would book it. I mean, I know I give y'all tidbits here and there, but I think I'm gonna make that like into a full show. But if y'all don't have anything else, I'll switch to another topic. I don't want to beat the drum of a dead horse or whatever the saying goes, but I think there's real heat there. I think something's going on. I mean, it just convoluted this whole thing for a year, man, with The Rock wanting to come back and be, prominent up top, whatever, which I'm not saying he shouldn't. I mean, he shouldn't have a big focal point because we know he's not going to be there for long, but it would still brings more attention and more money when The Rock is there. But you can't come in and just tear up your creative that you've been building for a year to 2 years because one guy's sitting on the seat and just automatically wants to go play. You don't see a football team, the general manager just jumps down and plays quarterback. You can't do that, man. I mean, I guess you could, but it doesn't work. You know what I mean? It don't work for me, brother. So with that being said, brother, let's get into the new topic. Don't know if y'all have heard this. I had mentioned something yesterday. Going to talk a little bit more about it. I don't know too much. But the new NWO, well, technically not, but we've seen the old NWO style promo go out with Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan. And I don't think too many people paid too much attention to it. I know I didn't when I first saw it until I heard more about it. I kind of just blew it off and I was like, what are these old guys doing? What are they talking about? Well, they kept saying, you wait to see the third man and this and that. I think everybody thought that they were talking about a podcast, but I already pretty much knew it wasn't a podcast because of Conrad Thompson. But it is going to be, I don't know necessarily if it's going to be like another promotion or like a TV show, but what it is going to be is the third person was Israel Martinez, Izzy, supposed to train all these UFC champions and stuff like that, is teaming up with Eric Bischoff and Hollywood Hogan, and they are creating real American freestyle wrestling. So I don't know if this is going to be kind of like an American Idol show thing, like a Ultimate Fighter kind of thing, or if it's going to be like a wrestling promotion, but I don't know. I don't know exactly what yet. I hadn't heard all the details. I don't even know when it's airing or if it's streaming or what it is, but I know they're getting in there, and this is what it's called, Real American Freestyle Wrestling. The more I find out, the more I will update you and let you know. I'm not totally sure. If anybody else knows, please let me know. Yeah, and see, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's going to be something like Shane was trying to do with that underground crap, or if it's actually going to be legit like amateur wrestling, or I don't know. I don't know. I've got to look more into it. I haven't had time to divulge any more time to it. Uh, but it's something to keep an eye and an ear on. Maybe first show in August. Okay. Yeah. So man, I mean, I'm kind of interested. I'll at least check it out once. Don't know if I'll go back again. But just like to see how they're involved with it and what's going on. Uh, what I would have really hoped was that they were teaming with Vince McMahon and he was actually doing another wrestling promotion. Uh, so that way somebody could compete with the WWE like AEW. But you didn't hear that, Chris. Uh, but we'll see. We'll see. Before I get on to the next topic, I do want to talk a little bit about the WWE buying AAA. I think that's a good thing. I'm really glad. For me, I'm a toy collector, action figure collector, as you can see from all the wrestling figures around me and behind me. But I'm really excited to know that they bought AAA mainly for the figures more than the wrestling. I know a lot of y'all might want to see more of the wrestlers from there. I just want to see the figures. I want to see La Parka. I want to see Conan figures. Conan! Conan! Yeah, I want to see more figures like that. La Parka, maybe we get Juventud Guerrero, some other stuff like that. And then some of the newer cats, which I wouldn't be able to tell you any of them who they are. Um, Maybe we get that Vikingo dude or whatever. I don't know. But it would be really good to see at least get some more figures in there. Speaking of the figure thing, we should have a lot new figures coming out. Probably more next year than this year. But with all the signings of Kamala and Demolition and Tito Santana, I'm still not sure about Rick Martel, but I thought he signed. Mark Henry's back in the fold. Jesse Ventura's in the fold. Coco Beware, Junkyard Dog, King Kong Bundy. I know I'm missing some guys. I don't have a sheet in front of me. But a lot of good figures to come with people coming back. I hope they get more. I hope they could get some Raven, a New Jack. Would love to have a new Elite style New Jack figure. Some more ECW guys, maybe. Definitely Raven. Maybe Sabu. Stuff like that. But we'll see. Maybe we can get Sabu from the unsanctioned line with Ringside because they've already made one size scale figure of his. So maybe they could do like the Elite style, like the Road Warriors that they did. But we'll get off figures. We'll go to the last topic. And then we'll see if there's anything else. But if you got any questions, be sure to put them in. But the last topic is the deal with Paul Heyman. My name is Paul Heyman. Yes, sir. May I bother you for a volley, sir? But no, the new Dangerous Alliance or whatever they're going to be called. And props to Bully Ray, the first one that I heard announce it as the new Dangerous Alliance before it was even formed, before Elimination Chamber. He actually brought it up and said just the look in Paul's eyes gave him that thought. And we all know Bubba knows Paul really well. So good thing on Nostradamus Bubba Ray for calling that out. But we got Seth Franklin Rollins and we got Braun Breaker in there right now, which y'all know if y'all been watching me, you know I'm not the biggest Seth Rollins fan. I still don't see that he's a guy. I still don't see he's one of those it characters. I think he wants to be, and his mind kind of thinks he is, but he's not. I hate to say it. A lot of times, guys, we think we are what we're not. I hate to say it, but it's the truth. One thing before I get about new members coming in, the main thing I was hoping would happen, and I don't understand why Paul hasn't done it or talked to him about it, is changing his gimmick. What you should do is you should get all that all that whiny Joker penguin strutting shit out of there. You know, get rid of all that. You can still use even a little bit of the visionary, revolutionary, but promote it in a different way. You could come out talking serious, talking with a man's voice and not your wife's clothes on, and get your point across. You know, he could come out and say, see, I told you that Punk was a cancer. And Roman didn't believe me, and nobody believed me. But I'm here now. We're going to change it. This ain't going to be like the pandemic. We've got the cure. And the cure is right here with me and the wise man, Braun Breaker, and whoever's on us. And talk like that. You know, all this crap is stupid. Stop it. Good Lord. I mean, be serious. When you were serious and you were having your feud with Punk and not doing that stuff, that was some of the best work you've done. Leave all that other fake, pretentious bullshit somewhere else. It's not getting the job done. So, all right, that out of the way. Braun Breaker's great. I thought he would already have the title by now, but when you have people that keep coming back and staying around for 20 to 24 years, you get people still on top, like back in the day, like Ric Flair, and now you get John Cena and these guys that just hold on. But not saying they're not warranted and they deserve it, but Braun Breaker is one of the futures of wrestling. He needs a little bit more work on the mic, but man, that dude is getting there. And when he gets it all put together, and I think with Paul Heyman on his side, man, he's going to be something else. Now, I think he'll have to kick Seth Rollins out of the group and do it. But anyway, that being said, I think Braun Breaker's great. I'd love to see what Paul Heyman... I would love to even see him and Paul Heyman by themselves, what he could do. We already see what he did for Brock Lesnar. He can do the same thing for Braun Breaker. I don't think Braun Breaker will be a failed success like Cesar Chavez, Cesaro, or whatever his name is. But back to who could be. I would really like to see this be like the New Dangerous Alliance. So I'm saying 5 people with Paul Heyman. So 6 total. Wise Man, of course. Seth Rollins, unfortunately, wouldn't have been my choice, but that's what they're going with. Braun Breaker. So there's 3. All right, so we need 3 more. We need 2. I say 2 more guys and 1 female. Everybody should be already, this should be a given. It should be Becky Lynch. I mean, her and Rollins together. Maybe she could get him to quit acting like a goof. It's still real to you. Hey, there's no problem with that, man. I'm not going to ruin it for you. Keep kayfabe alive, goddamn. But Becky Lynch should be in there. They've already turned her heel. I think it's just fitting to put her with her old man, and let's see what we can get them to do as a heel team. I think it could be all right. Maybe if they just let her do the speaking and him do most of the wrestling, it would be all right. So I'm saying Becky Lynch in there. That's the 3rd person. The 4th person and the 5th person, you can go in either order. And there's a few more people we could throw in there. But I'm saying this guy needs the help. I don't know why they've tried to bury this dude. Austin Theory. Austin Theory deserves to have the tutelage of Paul Heyman and get him away from that idiot Grayson Waller. There's no reason he should have ever got stuck. And even if you would have got stuck with this guy in a tag team, how are you letting him take the falls? I don't get it. I don't know what he did. I guess because he was a Vince guy and they didn't like him. I don't know. But this guy's got talent. He can talk. He can work. He's got all the intangibles. Austin Theory should be one of the members. Put a 1 or a stake in the chat if you agree with me. And the other one, I think, who it would really fit for, and it would help him with all his whining too, Drew McIntyre. I think Drew McIntyre would be a good fit, and Paul Heyman could definitely help him. But it could go right to what he's been playing into anyway about, all the whining and crying about stuff, and him and Seth could jail because they both believe basically the same thing, that the other people are cancers and blah, 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 blah. I don't say blah, 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 but I just did. But I, y'all tell me if y'all like that. Is that a great faction in your eyes, or would you like it to be somebody else? I know other names have been thrown in there. Jimmy Uso, Jay Uso, LA Knight, stuff like that. I could even see maybe a Solo Sokoa or something, because he's really not much to do with the bloodline or anything. Him and Fatu ain't even seeing eye to eye. But I don't know. I think they dropped the ball with Solo as there too, which I was afraid they were gonna do. Uh, but Paul Heyman, Seth Franklin Rollins, Braun Breaker, Becky Lynch, Austin Theory, and Drew McIntyre. That's my new Dangerous Alliance. That's what I want to see. That's what I hope it is. I don't know nothing. I don't predict the future. I just call it like I see it. But a couple more things before we get out of here. I'm only going to go on this about 30 minutes. So we got a few more minutes. If you got any questions, please ask. This will be uploaded in 12 hours. So if you didn't get to watch it, you can come back and watch it. Or if you just want to watch it again, you love to hear my voice that much. But, I touched on Solo Sokoa. I knew this was going to happen for two reasons. One, as soon as Fatu got there, I knew Fatu was going to be the man. I knew this guy had all the intangibles, and he basically just pushed Solo out of the way. But they didn't help him in any way by trying to make him a leader role. Solo Sokoa is not a leader role. He should be an enforcer role, like an Iron Anderson, a Jacob Fatu, stuff like that. So they just kind of... Solo could have been good. Solo was all right. He didn't need a little more work in the ring, and definitely needed some mic skills. But you could have still done something with him, and I pretty much think they've ruined Solo. I don't know how much longer you will really see Solo around in my eyes. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they can bring him back, because you could have had this dude in the upper echelon going for titles and stuff, and now you've just basically demoted him down past probably even intercontinental status. But we'll see what happens with that. But Jacob Fatu is the real deal, as we all know. Yada I mean is America's most. I think that's about all I got, guys. That was the only topics I wanted to talk about. Keep an eye on it. I think there's real heat. I think it's a shoot. I don't think it's a work between Triple H and The Rock. Like I said, I don't think they're holding grudges from 20 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever it is nowadays, 30 years ago. I think it's just more of the ego trip power of both wanting to be in charge, and they feel themselves a little too much. That's what I think. But we'll see what all comes down with it. But I'm going to keep an eye on it. And then the whole thing with the Hogan and Bischoff, we'll keep an eye on that, see what comes of it, if anything. And then hopefully we get a new Dangerous Alliance. I mean, I think you have to have more people. I don't think it really makes sense just to have those two. But you never know. You never know what the direction they're going in. We'll see. But guys, man, I thank you for coming in, hanging out with me, and letting me give you my spill and takes on what's going on. We'll have another show next week on Beef Tips and Topics. I don't know if it'll be wrestling or it'll be action figure related. You never know. It could be both. But if you follow us on TikTok, come over there and follow me at Dross Beef. We're going live tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central. It is live figure with friends. We all come in, open up something, talk about it, and all that good stuff. But you know what we say? We the ones. And I may be leaving, but I'm still that uncultured heathen.